my ignorance. Never wanted this, should've been oblivious and kept my innocence. Father, we don't know what we doing. Father, we don't know what we doing. Lord, please forgive my ignorance. Never wanted this, should've been oblivious and kept my innocence. Father, we don't know what we doing. Father, we don't know what we doing. Lord, we don't know what it is we do. This misery looks so perfect and it fits you too. We pass around the lie, handing out our grief. All the debt that we speak, this shit all out for free. And to the souls we loathe, the hurts on overload, projecting all our shorts and losses mixed with blames and woes. The worst part we don't see, we reject community. There is nothing in this worldly way that's meant for you and me. Look, it's time to be free, to wake up from sleep, saying we won't but be wrapped up in sheets. The Father been calling his children for years. Too many tears from wrestling weeds, and we hurt from a bit of that. But we got a good gift like a Vinadab. Enemy flee from the white flag. Now better be free from the lie trap. But some of us just don't know, thinking we gotta prove self-promo, getting caught up in our quid pro quo, only to find we vested a bozo. But no risk, bro, the Holy Ghost, Counselor and Holy Host, brings us to the highest places when we sit in the low of lows and no one knows. Please forgive my ignorance. Never wanted this, should've been oblivious and kept my innocence. Father, we don't know what we doing. Father, we don't know what we doing. Lord, please forgive my ignorance. Never wanted this, should've been oblivious and kept my innocence. Father, we don't know what we doing. Father, we don't know what we doing. Lord.
Means community, and they seem to think that it has to do with the building. Yeah, if you want to help out the ministry, go ahead and go grab one of them shirts on Amazon.com. Just type in the Remnant Daily Proverb. The Remnant Daily Proverb, and the shirt will pop up. Many colors, many sizes. If you want to help out the ministry and get a super cool shirt. You've seen Joseph wear his. I haven't gotten mine yet. Still working on getting everything right from just starting up working again and stuff. So I haven't gotten mine yet, but I have it soon. Man, I hope you guys had an awesome day. Hope you guys have had an awesome night. I hope everything is going well for y'all. Man, it was craziness at the job today. Wild and crazy. It is what it is, man. 2 nights in a row now. 2 nights in a row that it has been wild at work, but that's okay. We're going to make it happen. And I know it's late. You know why it's late? Because I just barely got off. I had to get here, had to pack because I'm leaving tomorrow right after my shift to get ready to train more for work, right? And also to have a job interview on Monday. You know what I mean? Anthony, was good with you, man. Salute. Man, y'all, life is wild. And I got my first paycheck this Friday. Still catching up on stuff from not working because the way that it works when you work for the state, they don't pay you for quite some time right out the gate. But it's cool because it works out in the end when you wind up leaving. But if you wind up leaving. But it took some time to get my check. And man, I was pretty happy with the check, right? Got a lot of stuff covered, got caught up on some things. Still got some other things to catch up on. But man, I was pretty happy. So if everything goes well with this other interview, I'm going to be very, very happy with what things are going to look like. So we'll see what happens on Monday while I get out there, man. But I need to get this broadcast done with y'all so that y'all can get some sleep. I can get some sleep. I got to go back. Rotating shifts, man, they a beast, boy. Them rotating shifts are a beast. I got to be back to work in about 5 hours to do it all over again. Then I got to come home, grab my bags, get out to the training facility, do that, and then come back in a week and right back on the rotating shift. So the cool thing about me being out in the training thing is that the proverb will always be at a decent time. There ain't going to be no midnights. It's going to be like 9 o'clock my time. So 11 o'clock Joseph's time, like at the latest, while I'm in training. But, is what it is. And then I'll come back, and then we'll be back to the really sporadic, close to midnight type schedules. What's up, Stephanie? How you doing? But man, I hope you guys had a good day. I definitely did. A little bit of a disappointment at the beginning of the day, but my people took care of everything that needed to be taken care of. I got out there. It was kind of crazy, man, because all y'all know Freddie Fred. And Freddie Fred was having a discussion with somebody that thought that they were going to be able to tell Freddie Fred that it was okay to do certain things. Freddie Fred, I'm proud of him. He gave a very good answer towards the individual, but the individual did not like Freddie Fred's answer. And so when I got there, asked me about it. And then the person proceeded to fumble over his words, misrepresent what he was saying. And the scary thing is, y'all, is that the person said, I'm coming to you in truth. I'm coming to you to tell you the truth, to walk in truth, to walk in excellence. And the person was lying the entire time. And the thing about it is that even his friend that was there low-key told on him. Like, he told on himself plenty of times, but his friend that was there low-key told on him too, right? Because his friend didn't necessarily like the fact that he's standing there lying. And his friend kind of popped up and said what he needed to say, and then showed that the dude was lying, though the dude had already shown himself to be lying multiple times. Y'all, we have to understand something, okay? When we do things like that, when we say that we are going to be aligned with the truth, when we say we're going to tell the truth, when we say we're going to do truthful things, and we don't, especially in the name of God, something bad's going to happen, right? There was somebody a long time ago, right, that used to beg me to get on stage and do his rapping thing and preach and this, that, and the other. And I never would. Why? Because I knew they had no idea what they were trying to do. I knew that they did not count the cost. I knew that they did not understand that they were going to be held to a higher standard, that they were going to be judged at a higher standard because they got on stage and they started teaching, they started preaching, they started doing something that was outside of where they were called, right? And one fateful night, this brother got upset. He had been drinking. One of the many reasons, right? And it's not even about having an occasional drink. It's not about that. It's the fact that the drink is where this person found their peace. And it was a very consistent thing. It was an all the time thing. And that was one of the many reasons that I did not allow him to minister beside me, right? And one night he was drunk and trying to tell me all about myself and how arrogant I am, this, that, and the other. And as he's speaking, he tells me that he's ready. God has shown him he's ready. I don't know why you keep standing on these reservations. And he says, you know what, brother? Ask God about me. Y'all, we have to understand, when we give God the ability to check us with somebody else, when we say foolish things like, ask God about me, y'all, that does not show how holy or how awesome you are. God bless. God bless. God bless, man. Dodong. I don't know if I said your name right. My bad if I didn't, but God bless you. When we give God the authority to let people into our lives and we are doing wrong, understand this. You're going to be told. God is going to show that person exactly what you said. You gave God the authority. You gave God the okay. You gave God the green light to allow this person to see into your world. And if that person happens to actually walk with God, guess what? They gonna read your mail. That's exactly what happened when this brother said, ask God about me. And I told him all about himself. He said, ask God about me. So I was like, so you mean to tell me that you're gonna let me stand in the presence of God and ask about you? He's like, yep, God's gonna tell you all kinds of good stuff about me. No, that's not what happened. Everything that he was doing behind closed doors, all the lies, all the fidgeting around, all the everything, right? And then his response was, well, you're just taking this too serious. Well, kind of hard not to take serious somebody that died in my place in order for me to spend eternal life with them. Kind of hard to not take that serious. Kind of hard not to take serious that there are some consequences in my life that did not go through. Kind of hard to not take serious the fact that my life was transformed when I started walking with God. And it's kind of hard to take somebody serious that seems to think that it's about the limelight and standing there and telling people all about a God that they don't know while doing something that they weren't called to, right? Y'all, we have to understand, man, number one, that God is very real. Maria, salute. Ooh, Anthony, you said you got some homework in here. Homework, Proverbs 19:1. Homework, Proverbs 19. I learned that our willingness to learn, to grow, and to seek God's wisdom has such a positive impact in our lives, and vice versa. If you're not willing, it has a negative impact. A way to love yourself is by seeking God's wisdom. Straight up, bro. Straight up. You get, man. Straight up. There is. And it's wild because if you read the book of Deuteronomy, you'll see that. You'll see that God lays out all the graces that he has planned for Israel. And then he lays out all the curses that he says they are going to do. He says, you're a stiff-necked people and this is what you're going to do. And here are the curses that are going to happen. This is why I said in my quick live last night, this is why I said, if you read the curses in the book of Deuteronomy and then you go through the rest of scripture, you watch all those curses come to fruition. Now, is that because man couldn't do it the right way? No, it's because man chose the path of destruction. Jesus was never to fix the problem. Jesus was always intended the entire time. Jesus was always a part of the plan. Jesus wasn't a plan B, wasn't a plan C. Jesus was a plan the entire time. God gave us the ability to do everything that we were supposed to do. And he showed us that we can't do it without him. He let us do our own thing. Go for it. But this is exactly what you're going to choose. And we proved him correct. Jesus was the plan the entire time. You hear what I'm saying? We have to be doing this the right way, and that's with God. Find your path with him. Spend time with him. The throne room is open to each and every person that says they are whosoever. And if you say you're whosoever, you have full on access to God. You don't need me to tell you nothing. You don't need all these other people to tell you nothing. You can go there yourself and have a relationship with God. Now, don't forsake the assembly of the saints. Don't forsake getting around people that hold you accountable. Don't forsake getting around other like-minded believers in Christ and growing even more. But you don't have to wait to be there in order to grow close. Y'all, that private time with God, that's what God wants. He wants that personal relationship. It was because Israel decided not to go and have that personal relationship. They were too terrified. They said, no, Moses, you go and do that. Moses, you go and do that. You go and do that. We're afraid. Don't be afraid. Stand in the presence of God. Have that personal relationship with God. He will bring the proper people into your life to guide you, walk with you, talk with you, and continue to grow and go. You can have that. All of y'all, everybody. Everybody can have the love of the word and the depth of the word and the wisdom in the word and all the everything that you see in all of your favorite ministers, rappers, evangelists, YouTubers, podcasters. You can have everything they have. It's just a matter of you going out and having a personal relationship with God. That's what it's all about. Y'all, it is all about the personal relationship. Period. That's what it's about. Everything else falls into place. It's all about seeking first the kingdom of heaven and its righteousness. Seeking first the kingdom of heaven and its correction applied in your life and walk in the excellence thereof. Seeking the presence of God. Everything else will fall into place. The people that God's brought into my life has been wonderful. The jobs God has brought into my life has been wonderful. The places I've gone, people I've seen, what's coming up in the horizon has been wonderful. And it's all because of a personal relationship with God. That's it. That's it. I just said yes. And my yes stood. Don't say yes and then fall. Don't say yes and then fumble. Don't say yes and then run the other direction. Just say yes and stay obedient. When you walk with God, you will have people that will challenge you. You will have people that will say that you don't. You will have all kinds of things. Matter of fact, I can't remember if it was in Isaiah or in Jeremiah tonight. I left my Bible in my car because I got to go right back to work anyway. So I left my Bible in my car. I can't remember if it was in Isaiah or Jeremiah, but it was about not getting a good report. It was about people talking bad about him. It was about all these people saying that he wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing. And literally, it was either Isaiah or Jeremiah was like, I don't care what they say. What I care about is what you say about me, Father. And that's what they did. Y'all, when you start pursuing God, you're going to have a lot of people that are going to try to keep you out of that throne room. When you start pursuing God and you start saying some things that make them feel uncomfortable, they're going to start telling you, oh, I don't know if you're talking to the same God that I am. And if it is based off of a selfless thing, not a self-gratifying, a selfless thing, you can basically bet your money that you heard from God and not from people. Y'all, I was so proud of Freddie Fred today. Like, you have no idea. Freddie Fred was able to stand his ground, and Freddie Fred was able to tell that man exactly what needed to be told. But of course, the dude didn't want to accept it, so he started talking to me about it. What's up, Sister Eminem? Oh, shoot. Speak of Freddie Fred. What's up, Freddie Fred? So he asked me, and then his whole story started to unravel. Like, he was literally saying that he was taking CBD, not THC. And that it was okay in moderation. I got no issues with CBD. I do have an issue with THC, but I don't have an issue with CBD at all. At all. If it's for medical purposes, I don't. Hey, go for it. Doesn't bother me none. But THC, we got a problem, right? And it was funny because right out the gate, you know what I mean? I'm listening to the guy. He's getting all excited. He's saying that Freddie Fred said this and Freddie Fred said that. And when he got done, I was like, so are you finding your peace there? Yes. Yes, I am. Then it's wrong. Oh, well, no, wait, no. What I was saying was, is this is right. And then backpedaling to this, that, and the other. And then he starts telling me that it was CBD and not THC. And then that's when his friend intervened. And his friend was like, man, I get messed up off of this. I get messed up. Woo, I get so high. I get so high off of this. And I was like, bro, your friend just said that you get high. That means that there's THC in it. You just told me out of your mouth that it was just CBD, that it had no THC in it, that it doesn't get you high, that it was nothing but the medical portion of it. But see, he's lying, it's unraveling, it's blowing up all in his face. But yet and still, he cannot take the correction and continues to make a justification. Then he turns around and he's like, well, what about Jesus turning water into wine? Let's not even bring that in, bro, because you obviously don't understand what happened when Jesus turned water into wine. You obviously don't understand that the fermentation process of that wine is way different than ours. The reason why people in the Bible would trip when people would get drunk regularly is because it literally took them all day of drinking in order to get drunk. Wedding celebrations were multiple days because it took forever to get drunk off of their stuff. It wasn't no 3, it wasn't no 4, it wasn't no 5, it wasn't no 6, it wasn't no 7, unless you're talking about hours of drinking, 7 to 8 hours of drinking, then you would find somebody drunk. There was a problem when you were drunk back in those days. But don't nobody want to talk about that. Everybody wants to act like it's the 3 or 4 or 5 little beers that you have and you start getting tipsy. No, it was literally hours worth of cup after cup after cup after cup that brought you to that place of being drunk back in those days. Why do you think Peter said, no, these men aren't drunk. It is only the 4th hour of the day. He wasn't saying it because it wasn't a good time to drink. He was saying it because they would have had to have been just sitting under a drip, constantly pouring into their mouth and drinking it all for it to only be the 4th hour of the day and they were drunk. You have to understand this, y'all. But that's the next step that he took because he wanted to justify. He didn't want to take correction. And he was exposed, not by Freddie Fred, not by your boy, not even by his friend, but by God and by God alone, because he was perverting God's word. Just like when somebody turns around and says, you can ask God about me. Woo! You better be doing some real things about God. Either that or you better never, ever, 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 ever tell somebody to ask God about you unless you are 100,000% sure that the report is going to be good. Because 9 times out of 10, when somebody says, ask God about me, it's not in humility, it's in arrogance and it's in pride, seeming to think that they just intimidated somebody into doing something that they're trying to get them to do. Don't do it. Don't do it. I even know of an artist that did a song called Ask God About Me. Yeah, you should probably be very careful with that. Probably be very careful with that. Because that is not a place that you want to be, because any of the children of God can take you up on that, and God will allow for their mail to be read. Bro, I've watched it happen more than once. Just use the one guy's example for the one thing, right? And when I tell you that I was able to see deep into that man's soul and everything that he was doing, I even said, because I knew he was drunk, but I had no idea of the stuff that he did prior. And to listen to his response as I went through the stuff, and to listen to his response as I kind of told him, like, you're using this as a crutch. As I listened to his response to that happened 8, 9, 10 years ago, and you're still latching onto it. And then all he was, well, then you just take this too serious. What do you mean I take it too serious? Was I wrong in anything I said? Not a thing. Then what do you mean I take it too serious? Sounds like you're not taking it serious enough. Sounds like you seem to think that you could just fling God's name around and everything is going to be fine. No, God will not be mocked. He will not be mocked. Vast majority of the wrath that came out in the Old Testament was due to the fact that Israel, that was in Jeremiah as well. It said Israel is praying to their imagination. There is nothing there. And he wasn't talking about him. He was talking about the idols they started following. He said Israel is praying to their imagination, that they are burning incense to something that does not exist. This is why his wrath went on. Because y'all, Israel had a pillar of cloud and a pillar of fire in front of them for the entire journey out of Egypt. Israel had a pillar of cloud and a pillar of fire on a regular basis when it was time for them to not move when they came out of Egypt. Israel had the glory of God right above their heads when Moses was up on Mount Sinai. And they still worshiped other gods. They still made a golden calf. They still wanted to go back to Egypt. They still murmured against God. They still did all the things that they did. A lot of us do not realize that the presence of God was right there in front of them, and they still did what they did. We kind of stay, when we don't have that personal relationship with God, we kind of stay in that kid's fairy tale place where it's like, oh, a pillar of cloud, a pillar of fire, and then it went away, and then they just had to deal with it themselves. Oh, God gave Moses the 10 commandments and came down the mountain, and there they were messing up. We don't take the adult route and understand Israel saw all this. It was all happening in front of them. God's glory right there. Wow, the glory cloud of God. We should make a calf and worship that instead. Whoa, look at that pillar of fire and that pillar of cloud that's leading us out of Egypt. But we should just murmur and complain the entire time. Man, the sea just split and that pillar of fire is behind us destroying the Egyptians. And now it's in front of us leading us out into another place. But we should start worshiping Baal and all those other places that we went. All these things that weren't present, they praised. But God's glory showing in front of them. They didn't pay attention. Have y'all ever thought about this? Think about this. Think about this one thing, and then I'm going to get into the proverb. Think about this one thing. When Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden, there was only one thing that they could not have. Only one. Only one. At that time, they could have even had the tree of life, the fruit of the tree of life that would have had them live forever. They could have even had that. One thing that they could not have. And that's what they ate. And now today, the one thing that will bring us into the presence of God, and we refuse it and try everything else. Is that not the brokenness of our humanism? Is that not the influence of the lie of the world? I mean, we walk around and say, I'm only human. I'm only human. I'm just going to mess up. I'm only human. I'm going to disappoint you. I'm only human. I'm only human. Not understanding that our humanness is the lock that the key of Jesus Christ fits into that unlocks the glory of God. If we would only stop disrespecting ourselves and lowering ourselves to something so low and basically saying all the time, all I'm going to do is mess up. Don't we know if we would change our verbiage and say, I am a son, I am a daughter, I walk with a father, I talk with my father, I have a relationship with my father, I'm going to see my father, I'm going to find out what he wants, I'm going to see what he has called me to do. If we would start doing that as opposed to I'm only human, I'm just going to mess up, do we not understand how things are going to change? I just talked to Gabby the other night and she was sharing some things and she had done something that was super small, right? In the big scheme of stuff, super small. Pookie, salute, super small. But it convicted her. It was a little itty bitty thing, but it convicted her. It was something that is easily justifiable to darn near anybody on the face of this earth. And it caused a conviction in her that made her repent. Not only did she repent, she told Eric, and then she told me on Wednesday. But if you were to find out what it is, it's going to be super small. And you would find every justification that you have to tell Gabby, it's all right, sis. That's what's up. It's all right. It's not that big of a deal. But for me, seeing the conviction in her face when she was talking about it, I was like, that's what's up, that you repented. Now continue on to other things. Because what it was, since it was so small, what we have to realize, y'all, is as we walk this out, as we get more solid, as we get more strong, it should be that way. It should be something that everybody can justify and be like, that's not that big of a deal. That should convict us. You know what that means? It means that all the deep down inside stuff is all but gone. So we're getting convicted of this small stuff that could possibly remove us out of the presence of God, instead of thinking about all this deep stuff that we're now not doing. It's a sign of growth, y'all. It's a sign of growth. It's a sign of choosing God over even the smallest things that could possibly remove us from his presence. I was celebrating because my sister came to a point that something that was so minuscule in the big complexity of how we sin, something so minuscule bothered her to the point that it convicted her into repentance, meaning she has grown past the depth of our ugliness and sin and came to the top of the ugliness, which where we would say this is minute and it doesn't matter, and understanding that even that is the same as something so deep down and ugly to God. So she came to that realization, she repented, and man, oh man, watch what happens. Y'all, when you get to that place, when you're looking at the small things, the things that don't matter much, and you're calling them sin in your life, and you're repenting from it, you came into a place where, there's only kind of surface stuff leaving. There's only some surface stuff that's lingering. There's only some surface stuff that is painfully apparent that needs to be dealt with. Not stuff that's deep down inside that you're trying to hide. Do you understand what I'm saying? Y'all, this is how it should be. Instead of, I'm only human, I'm just going to mess up all the time. No, understand that you're a son, understand that you're a daughter, and when you walk with God, you are perfect. When you walk with God, you are perfect. It's not because of you, it's because of your relationship with God, and you stop doing this and you start doing this. Because if you're walking right beside with God, if you side by side with God, if you're hearing his voice all the time, are you going to mess up? Probably not, right? You're going to be very conscious of everything that you're doing. You're going to be paying attention. You're not going to dig in your nose and flick it in the back of somebody's hair and be like, nobody's going to notice. You're going to flick it. You're going to be like, oh, shoot, I repent. You're going to tell that little itty bitty white lie. You're going to be like, oh, shoot, Lord, I repent. Why? Because you understand that he's right here with you. And if you understand that he's right here with you, if you understand he's right here with you, you start functioning better. You start remembering, you start doing things way different than you did before, because you're no longer living in a blinder. You're now living life in the presence of the Father, standing in the palm of his hand and saying, I am never leaving. I am never leaving. I'm going to stay right here. I'm going to walk with you. I'm going to talk with you. I'm going to let you know that I know that you see me and you know what I'm doing, and I need your strength and I need your guidance and I need your care in order for me to be completely transformed and different. Y'all, it's funny when I say this. Okay. Because a lot of people cannot grasp it. A lot of people do not understand what I'm saying. It says in the word, those who say that they have not sinned is a lie. Right? Those who say they have not sinned is a lie. We have all sinned. Is it possible to be sinless? Absolutely. Absolutely. Have not sinned. It means you sinned in the past. We already know that. You sinned in the past. But why do you sit there in the past when the presence is so much better? But no, we limit ourselves. We're like, nope, it's not possible. And right when that nope, it's not possible comes into our mind, guess what we do? We go and sin. Easy. Easy. I'm telling you, anytime I say that, somebody will, nope, you're absolutely wrong. We're always going to sin. Where does it say that we're going to do that? Or does it say that we become perfect when we walk with God? Or does it say that we will sin less? We will be blameless? I don't think we read in the same words sometimes, because people want to say that they are just going to sin. You can't say that you have not sinned. Nobody can. But you can definitely say that you sin less, that you're doing better, that you're coming out of the activity of sin and you're starting to practice repentance, right? And then you're starting to practice discipline, right? And then you're starting to practice consecration, being consecrated with the Father, backing away from all things that are not of him, because his presence is much more important. And then how much better will we function? Now, it's a sin to put yourself all the way up here, but it's definitely not a sin to keep yourself low. And if you stay low and you understand that it's only because of God, it changes things. When you understand that God's walking beside you, it changes things. None of us would sin in front of Jesus's face, right? Right. That's why all of us think that we would be better if we were walking with Jesus. But y'all, we seem to forget we're always sinning in front of Jesus's face. Jesus sees everything. Ain't nothing hidden from him. But see, a lot of us haven't came to that realization, and we try to make every single excuse that we can and every justification. And we just like, oh, well, I'm going to just dabble over here, acting as if God don't see. And then we repent and we come back and we're like, Lord, I know you didn't want to see that. And I know you didn't want to. He already knew you were going to do it. Knew it, right? Because of how we think, because of how we walk, because of how we move, because he's the one that created us. What's good, KV? What's good, Ashley? But y'all, you mean to tell me that if you could walk in the presence of God regularly, that you would still sin in front of him? Vast majority of y'all, I know you wouldn't. The problem is that we're not visiting the throne room enough to understand that he is right here with us. We always make that distance because we are driven towards sin. We are driven towards sin. When we do not look at our Father, we are driven towards sin. But when we look at our Father, there you go, Stephanie. Reverence. When you have a reverence for the Father, when you actually say, I don't want to be anywhere but by my Father, with my Father, walking in my Father, when we're actually able to say that, the last thing we want to do is anything that causes a separation. The last thing we want to do is do anything that runs us to the tip of his finger and puts us out in front, and he doesn't touch it first before we do. When we understand that staying in the palm of his hand is the place to be, it starts to change us. And when we realize that the remain in the land is literally talking about remaining in the palm of his hand, remaining in his presence, remaining right by the tent, just like Joshua decided to do. Hey, it's exactly what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to remain in his presence. Though the leader may leave, if God still has more for us, we should be in the tent, just like Joshua was. And we should move in the obedience that God calls us to. Y'all, there was a reason why God told me that I was not the first choice for the Remnant Ministry, and I will not be the last. Number one, so that I didn't get a big head thinking that I was somebody important, because I was not the first choice. And then to keep my head from inflating even more, because I will not be the last choice if I choose to not listen to him. So now I know. Now I know. Even if I don't show up for a service. Like what happened today. I was just too tired, man. I woke up. I was like, are you kidding me? And then on the way over there, traffic was weird. I was like, this is wild. This is crazy. But praise God. And got there in time just to help Freddie Fred out with that conversation, right? That was God's doing. Now I could sit there and beat myself up, turn it into a sin, be weird about it, or I could let it be what it was. I was there for the moment that God wanted me there, and God had other plans with everybody else that was there. And it's really kind of brought me into a place, man, that I'm looking, because there is another remnant that I want to establish, and it's in Salt Lake. But I can't establish that if I'm not trusting the people that I got with me. And it's not that I don't trust Chosen and Gabby, right? But I don't want them to shoulder the entire burden. But man, Freddie Fred's really stepped it up in the last little bit. Freddie Fred has really been paying attention. Freddie Fred has really been growing. And it's time for me to give Freddie Fred a shot. And so that's what I'm going to do. And Freddie Fred is doing what he's supposed to do. So maybe here in the next few months, I'll be able to establish the remnant in Salt Lake, because Gabby, Eric, and Freddie Fred are taking care of the remnant in Ogden. So I can establish and be out in Salt Lake, establishing the remnant in Salt Lake, helping them out, making sure that my guy's got a team out there that's going to help him. And then I'll come back up, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But y'all, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I love it, because I never wanted to just be in one place. I wanted to be in multiple places. I wanted to plant these all over the place, much like how people want to plant house churches everywhere. But I wanted to plant these outdoor services all over, right? And man, it would be great to have teams of people able to take care of their areas and not really have to go very far, but take care of their areas and take care of their regions in the same way that we do when we're all together. And man, sometimes it takes just letting go. And that's been happening for the last little bit, because I used to get super frustrated when something would happen and I'd be late, or if I wasn't able to show up. Like, the last thing I wanted to do was hit Chosen up and be like, bro, I'm running behind, man. I'm running late, man. I don't know if I'm going to make it. That was the last thing I wanted to do. I used to get so upset about it. But you know, that was me being a little bit too much in control. That was me not paying attention to what was going on around. Like, when I woke up, I was like, are you kidding me? And then I got ready. And then as I started driving, and traffic was just weird and terrible. Like, the thing about it was that the traffic wasn't even that bad. It was just somebody driving really slow in front of me. When I tried to go around them, another person driving slow in front of me. And then I tried to go back in the other lane, and then all of a sudden they stacked up and they were driving slow. Even on the street that goes up to the park, it was slow. What's up, Tommy Chopper? Love you, bruh. Miss our conversations too, man. We'll get back to him. We'll get back to him eventually. I know that much. I appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it. Man. Now, if all that stuff didn't happen and I was just able to fly down the freeway, yeah, man, that was my bad. Right? But that slow pace, that stuff that was outside of my control. One thing that I've learned, y'all, when stuff is outside of my control, I know that that's God. If it's in my control, that's on me. But when it's outside of my control, it's God. Whether it's God telling me to pump the brakes, whether it's God telling me, hey, take a seat, whether it's God telling me, you're not needed right now. Go ahead and let that happen. Because in all honesty, if it wasn't for these moments, I probably would have held on to the reins a little bit too tight and not allowed for Freddie Fred to step up and do. Well, it's not even that Freddie Fred was asking. Freddie Fred actually don't like that I'm telling him to do this stuff. He don't like it. That's not him. But it's that time. It's that time. And right when we have everything established, man, and I'm going to say it because I love my brother. I'm going to say it right when we have everything established and I'm able to extend Remnant Ministers, Freddie Fred's going to be the first one. It was the plan the entire time. You know what I mean? And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to covering my brother in that way. You know what I mean? And he's moved in excellence the entire time. Hiccups and all. He's had an excellence about him. Even with the stumbles, even with the trips, even with the little mess ups, he's had an excellence about him. And now it's to the point that he realizes and understands the importance of walking above reproach and doing what needs to be done. if it wasn't the case, he wouldn't have been able to handle those barrage and bombardment of questions that he got today. But man, in the excellence that he walks in with the Father, he was able to respond and respond well. Proud of this dude. Super proud of this dude. And I can't wait to see the next things that God does with him as he steps more and more into this place. And one of the things that he will be doing, he'll be doing the Proverbs more too. You know what I mean? And I'm looking forward to it. We're going to see what happens. We're going to keep pushing. But man, I'm looking forward to seeing the direction that God goes. Just keep us lifted. We got all kinds of things going on. You know what I mean? So, all that being said, let's get to this proverb, man. Let's get to this proverb. I'll let you guys have your night back. I still got to pack and get ready for my journey to Mari. You know what I mean? My journey into the training realm of the state. Proverb chapter 19, better to be poor and live one's life uprightly than engage in crooked speech, for such a one is a fool. Crooked speech is bad. It's so bad. And it catches us up. It puts us in a very bad place when we start submitting to crooked speech. Don't submit to crooked speech. Hey, look, Joseph E. Madigan. Yay, he must be off work now. Don't engage in crooked speech. Refrain from it. I know it's hard. I know it's tough. Sometimes we just want to say something wild because it makes us feel better. Well, you find your peace in crooked speech. That's all bad just as much as finding your peace in a drug, finding your peace in alcohol, finding your peace in a person. It's all bad. Your peace should be found in God and in God alone, and you shouldn't find your peace in something that could separate you from God's presence. Don't do that to yourself. Don't wound yourself like that. Don't hurt yourself like that. It's all bad, right? It's so much better to be poor and live uprightly than to engage in crooked speech. It's so much better to not have influence than to engage in crooked speech. It is so much better to not have anyone on your side and live uprightly than to get a promotion from tearing somebody down and having crooked speech. It is not a dog-eat-dog world. It should be an ant hand in hand with another ant type world. More gets done together. But we have unfortunately started listening to that dog-eat-dog stuff, and we love to tear one another down instead of build each other up. It's not worth it, I promise you. To act without knowing how you function is not good, and if you rush ahead, you will miss your goal. You should know yourself well enough to know how to function. You should know yourself well enough to know that you shouldn't be in certain places. If you are somebody that has a hard time functioning at the bar, newsflash. God did not call you after 1 month to go back to that bar and minister to people. I know exactly what you're doing then. You going back to that bar to drink. You using that as a justification. Then you're going to turn around and tell everybody, I didn't mean to. I just went back into the bar and it hurts. And I don't know why I started drinking, because you weren't ready. You didn't know how you functioned. Y'all, the whole point of self-denial is to look at yourself and know how you function. And not lie to yourself anymore. Oh, I'm so strong in this. No, you're not. That's why you stumble in it all the time. Man, I'm ready to go right back over there and start ministering to those people that take their clothes off in order to get money. No, you're not. You're just making an excuse to see something you ain't supposed to be seeing. You ain't going to be saying nothing about the Lord when you get over it. What did I come over here for? Man, and then you get with your people, be like, oh, no, yeah, I went to the strip club and I was preaching the other day. No, you weren't. You was over there oogling. You didn't tell that girl to put their clothes back on and come down here and talk to him. You know what I'm saying? He's over there oogling, and then you trying to tell everybody that that's what you're doing. No, know yourself. That's part of self-denial. In self-denial, you look at yourself, you go, dang, I need strength in this place. Or dang, I've been messing up here. Man, this really hurts and this really sucks, but maybe I need to knock it off and I need to sit down and keep my yammer shut when I'm in these group scenarios, because I just keep messing things up and I have no idea what I'm talking about. Even a fool is thought wise when they keep their mouth shut, right? Knowing yourself, how you function, that's a part of self-denial. And when you don't function well, you had better tell the truth. Joseph, what you talking about, man? Look at the top of my head, bro. I'm trying to say that those are freshly twisted. Look at this. Man, look like I got an afro on top of my head. You talking about them joints are freshly twisted. No, man. It's an illusion. I put the headphones on. Man. See, I know how I function, and I am tripping about my hair being all over the place. I don't like it. I don't like it like that. I'll take it busting. I don't like it like this on top of my head. It bothers me a little bit, you know. A person's own folly is what ruins his way, but he rages in his heart against Adonai. Y'all, this was me. This right here was your boy, right? I told y'all this. I told y'all the story. Lord, I'm serving you, and this is what I get. This is what you do to me. All I do is serve you, and you do this stuff to me. I thought you were a good God. I thought this. I thought that. Where do you serve me? Huh? Oh my God. What? Was that you, God? I thought you didn't reply. I thought you just sat there. You didn't say anything. You just took all this filth that comes from my mouth. It's a bold-faced lie anyway. I didn't know you actually responded. That was me, man. My own folly. My own mess-ups. My own stupid stuff that I was getting myself wrapped up in every day and then turning around and blaming God. If you are that person, I highly recommend that you stop. Do not get that message like I did. Y'all, there has only been like 7 times in my life that I have ever been terrified, and they all involve God telling me something about myself after I challenge him. After I challenge him. He'll respond. We don't have to defend God. God will defend himself. The only thing we have to defend is why we have faith. Do we even know why we trust and believe? We don't have to defend him. He's not a damsel in distress. He'll defend himself absolutely fine, which is why he said, where, son? Where? Which is why he said, oh, so everything that you said to me about if I come back and get you, you wasn't planning on doing in the first place. When he said to me, really? You think you're ready for that? Boy, you about to get a whole lot of what you just asked for. He'll respond. He'll defend himself just fine. We don't have to. This is what would be cracking me up, man, when people don't even understand that. You get people that literally read the Bible to be able to have arguments about if God is real or not. That is not it. God don't need defending. God will defend himself just fine. Ask Sodom and Gomorrah. Go ahead. Bet money Sodom and Gomorrah don't say, ask God about me. God will defend himself just fine. God will defend himself just fine. All we're defending is why we have trust and belief in God. And half of us can't do that. Half of us don't even know what faith means. I just said it. Trust and belief. That's faith. Half of us don't even know what that word means. And it's bad. It's not how it's supposed to be. Because we should all have intimacy with God. My throat's dry. We all should have intimacy with God, but a lot of us don't. And a lot of us don't even know half of the stuff. But a lot of us like to take the word and be able to argue and sit there and argue and act like we're doing God a favor, and we walk away. We got our chest. Should have seen how I defended God today. And the entire time God's like, I'm not a damsel in distress. You don't even believe what you're saying. That's where the problem's at. See what I'm saying? Polo. God bless you. Still praying for your city, still praying for your state, still praying for your people, man. Straight up. I just barely saw those videos on Instagram that you sent me, bro. That tripped me out, man. Love you, bro. Wealth brings in many friends, but the poor man loses the one friend he has. And that's wild to me. That's wild to me. I will never forget that man at Skid Row. That man that felt like he was too filthy for me to touch. I will never forget that dude. Because I will never forget his reaction to me just snatching him up and just hugging him, man. I'll never forget that. Why is it that when people start to lose everything, they lose even the relationships they have. Why are we so ugly to one another? Y'all, I look at these kids that I work with, man, and I don't understand how people could just leave them to sit in a cell and sit in DT and get ready for prison and don't give no never mind. And it's funny because like some of the visits are great. Don't get it twisted. Some of the visits are great. But some of them just be like they're inconvenienced so much. And it's almost like you can see when a family member is about to stop paying attention and stop being around and stop coming. I don't understand how, especially those of us that say we follow God, I have no idea how we can walk away from somebody just because they're in a bad way. Now, don't get it twisted. I'll rebuke your pants off. I'll rebuke the pants off of you. But that don't mean that I don't like you. That don't mean that I'm walking away from you. That don't mean that I don't want you around me. I'll tell you about yourself a little bit, though. That's what I'm called to do, especially if you fibbing up a storm trying to make it happen. Right? But I still love you. I still want you around. Shoot. Freddie Fred probably got the heaviest part of my hand that anybody has in a minute. You know what I mean? What's up, Carolyn? Good to see you, sis. Freddie Fred probably got the heaviest portion of my hand that anybody has in a long little time. But man, has he grown. And man, I look forward to never, ever, ever having to do that again. Like straight up. I got a huge heart for Freddie Fred. So much so that, yeah, it makes my hand kind of heavy. But I ain't lying to nobody, man. If anybody is under me, they know I got a heavy hand. I ain't playing around. You gon' explain everything. You gonna make it make sense to me. You gonna get off the hook easy. You know what I'm saying? But man, Freddie Fred has been there blow for blow, dodge for dodge, roll for roll, and he's still here. It's nothing to apologize for, Freddie. You ain't need to apologize, man. It's just the reality of it. I low-key wish I would have had somebody in my world to do that with me too. Because my path wouldn't have been as rocky. You know what I mean? But this path, walking it out with my people that God put around me, man, it's wonderful. Because not a single person has to leave. Not a single person. It's always an invite. Man, you might get talked to harshly. You might be heavy. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. You see what I'm saying? A false witness will not go unpunished. Whoever breathes out lies will not escape. Y'all, we must realize, we must understand anytime we lie, it's all bad. Doesn't matter if it's a little white lie. Doesn't matter if it's a big one. Whatever it is, we have to have lies stop coming out of our mouth, man. We really got to check this tongue. We cannot let this tongue bring us to a place that we ain't supposed to be. Look what it says. A false witness will not go unpunished. So if you bring a false witness against a neighbor, you bring a false witness against a person, you one of those weird people that don't know somebody on Facebook and you sit there, you talk bad about them and act like you know something because they made a little mistake in what they said and you're bringing false witness, you will not go unpunished. If you don't have a personal relationship with these people, if you haven't had a conversation with them, you just coming up with all this stuff and it just seems like a good idea for you to get out there and start talking your talk. Yeah, you ain't going to go unpunished, man. You ain't going to go unpunished. Whoever breathes out lies will not escape. There will not be a way to escape. You're going to be exposed. You're going to pay the piper on all the stuff that you want to say. Y'all, let's just leave false witness out of the mouth. Let's leave false witness out of the mouth. Leave false witness out of the mouth. Here's the thing, too. Probably better be willing to say it to the person's face, too, because if somebody comes up to you, somebody approaches you and asks you if you said something, you better have, number one, said it to their face prior, and you better be ready to say it again. Y'all, I had a whole situation like that. I was looking out for somebody. Me and this person have already had many discussions. They know exactly how I feel. I was looking out for somebody. Then everything was too good to be what I said. They did tell the person. The person called me. But the weird thing about it is that they told the person the wrong thing. And when the person called me and asked me about it, I said, no, I did not say that. And they were like, yeah, that's really not you. I said, I actually said this. So it ensued into a big thing. I listened to a double-minded person do double-minded things, right? And then it's been left at what it is. We good. Stay over there. We all right. We'll keep it like that. Not only that, but the person that said that I said these, well, they didn't even say what I said. Like I said, they said the wrong thing. I cleared it up when they called me, right? They tried to contact me and say, oh, you were right. Don't you come over here. Don't you come over here. You're gonna have to go figure that out on your lonely. That's between you and them now. Bring me anything but that. That I will not talk to you about. Will not. I gave you advice. You didn't want to hear it. Then you tried to throw me under the bus and you didn't even say what I said. So I had to clear it up. Me and that person had to have another conversation. We had to leave it where it lies, exactly where it's at. And now you coming back over here crying because everything that I told you was going to happen happened. No. Bye. Don't talk to me about that. Bring me anything else. We good everywhere else. But when it comes to that, you dug yourself. You're going to have to deal with that person and God with that, because I have nothing for you there. Like, you better be ready, because one of the things about a false witness does not want to be confronted. A false witness will run from everything. A false witness will spin more and more webs of lies. Don't be that. One of the characteristics of somebody that's not a false witness, they are willing to have conversations, they're willing to talk, they are willing to confront, and they're willing to tell you about yourself. Right? And it's funny too, because there are those that would do the accusation, and when somebody confronts them about their accusation, they've got nothing to say. They won't correct whatever, and they will just continue to try to spin the web of lies. That's foolishness. You don't have to mess with that either. Let God take care of that for you too. Right? It's not that big of a deal, because a false witness will not go unpunished. Whoever breathes out lies will not escape. They will have to answer for what they do, or what they did. Right? Many ask favors of a generous person. To a giver of gifts, everyone is a friend. Straight up. And that sucks. And I'm the type, man, like, I'd be looking at people and something happen and I see people getting stuff. I'd rather have somebody else get it. Matter of fact, there was this one time, right? B called us up on stage. And we was up on the stage and he was doing the thing. And it was kind of a crazy moment, man. It was one of those wild ministry nights and all kinds of stuff was going on. And my dude, like, my dude just walked away. Like, he did all the stuff and I was standing there and then he just walked away. And I was like, okay, left, right? All of a sudden I get a call, or one of my boys come and he was like, hey, B wants to talk to you over here. I went over there and B was like, bro, I am so sorry. I was like, bro, it's all good, man. I ain't tripping, man. That's not what I signed up for. I signed up to do what God wills. You know what I mean? Maybe that'll be something that'll teach somebody, because I know that there's going to be plenty of people out there laughing, right? Plenty of people going to be out there like, oh, that was weird. Oh, that's embarrassing, right? But then there may be somebody that's out there going, yo, I'll be sad. Just walked away and was like, whatever, man, it's all good. It's not a big deal. Still smiling, still ministering, still do what needs to happen. Right? Like, we don't do it for recognition. We don't do it for gifts. What would that have been like? What would that have been like if I'd have been up there? It is funny because B started clowning. He was like, bruh, Bobby, if you was mad, you'd been like, how dare you? Right? Like, everybody knows me. Everybody knows how I am. Everybody knows my little things, right? He was like, Bobby up there, he'd be like, how dare you? He'd grab the mic and be like, how dare you call me up here and embarrass me like that, right? Like, and if that was the case, if that's what I was there for, everybody would have known right out the gate, right? But that's not what I'm there for. I'm not there. I'm not there for that. I'm there to serve, period. Flat out, I'm there to serve. It's not about receiving rewards. It's not about recognition. It's not about all this stuff. It's literally about serving. Right? What better place to show that proper heart posture than when something wild like that happens and then you just laugh it off later? right? Because it wasn't nothing malicious, man. There was all kinds of stuff going on. But then you would see people that would expect to receive a gift, that would expect to get something, that would expect to not be in a place where they feel super stew, right? Super dummy, and get paid for it, and get recognized for it, and get what they feel like they got coming. If that's the case, you gotta ask, are you truly serving? Or are you looking for kudos? You know what I mean? I've heard people, y'all, and understand that I have been that person before, right? I've watched it happen. I've had it happen to me. And y'all, when you are looking for a specific type of attention, when you feel like you're supposed to be doing something. Now, I'm not saying anything about somebody that's volunteering for something. I'm not saying anything like that. What I'm saying is if you're expecting for something to happen and it doesn't, and you wind up getting upset, and then you wind up blaming, so, well, you're making me stumble because I thought this, and this is what happened, and now I'm upset, and you're making me stumble. Nope. You're focused on the wrong thing. You're focused on the wrong thing. People don't let you down. Your expectation of people let you down. Period. That's one of the biggest parts of self-denial as well. Your expectation of others. When you expect certain things from others and then you get your feelings hurt and then you're upset and you don't want to talk to nobody, that's on you and on you alone. Nobody else. We have to understand that. This is a part of self-denial. We shouldn't expect anything from serving God. But see, you get people that is a friend to everybody that gives gifts because they're expecting to get a gift. But what if they don't? Are they a friend of that person anymore? Are they out on Facebook trying to expose them? They in social media realms say, oh, I'm supposed to get this and they didn't do it, when the person never once promised them anything. Again, this is stuff that I've witnessed. I've witnessed. Nobody promised anything, but somebody brought along, right? And then right when it doesn't go the way that they want to, they get all upset. They get butthurt. They want to leave. They want to tell everybody about everything. Oh, you're a liar. Ain't nobody said anything. You want to know? Let me tell you what Brian says when Brian brings somebody into the ministry. Let me tell you what Brian says. I'm going to tell you guys exactly what Brian says when he brings somebody into the ministry. Hasn't happened for a long time now. But when he brings somebody into the ministry, this is what he says. I want you to be a part of this ministry. Now, before you say yes or no, number one, ask your pastor. Number two, ask your spouse. Number three, I am not promising you music videos. I'm not promising you to be on songs. I'm not promising that I'm going to promote your music. I'm not promising that you're going to have attention brought to you. What I am saying is that you will have brothers to walk with, talk with, and serve with. If your pastor says yes, if your spouse says yes, we would love you to be a part of the ministry, but I am not promising any kind of promotion on the music or minister level. I'm just promising you brotherhood and people to walk, talk, and serve with. Now I want you to think about all those people that say that they were a part of the ministry and that Brian did absolutely nothing. I know you guys have seen it. I know you guys still see it. It's no surprise that Brian has promised us nothing. God places us where we go. God places us into the positions that we're at. God brings us forward. Brian's very obedient to that. Praise God. The places that I've been brought forward, it's all with ministering and Bible study and prayer, not with music, right? I don't care about music. I honestly don't even want to be in front of half of the people that I talk to when I'm doing the proverb or anything like that. But that's where God's brought it forward, right? Then there's some that get brought forward in the music. There's some that get brought forward into the preaching part of it. There's some that get brought forward in the background that nobody knows is there. But you guys have seen the people that sit there and accuse Brian of this, that, and the other, and lies and blah, blah, blah. And I was a part of the ministry and nothing happened. And Kingdom Music Discipleship. If you've ever had anybody in your inbox that says that they are a member of Kingdom Music, no, they're a disciple. And that's it. We had a whole slew. My bad, y'all. I got to ask my wife if she'll go get me food. I am hungry. I'm hungry as a dog right now. I am hungry. I've seen people accuse Brian of a bunch of stuff. I've seen people. My bad. We was talking about the discipleship, brother. Me, Lalo, Mendez, Tommy, and George. When George was with us, there was so many damage control things that we had to take care of over that. No, we got a McDonald's that's open 24/7 out here, bro. Not a Sonic. Our Sonic closes early, and then there was allegedly... My bad, y'all. We had like 2-3 months of damage control that we had to do over people diving into people's inboxes saying that they were kingdom music ministers when they were just disciples. And y'all, what I want to tell you, take it from me. Take it from me. If you know women that have had somebody that says that they are a kingdom music minister and they've been inappropriate in people's inboxes, let either me or Fred Mendez know. Let us know. We can't fix it if we don't know. Y'all, I cannot tell you how crazy it was to get people to let us know. And when the first one did it, it was like Tiger Woods. When it was the first one that did it, then all kinds of other women started doing it. And we went behind and we cleaned it up. Because that's what we do. If y'all have experienced anything like that from somebody that says they are a minister within the ministry, especially when it comes to the discipleship, y'all need to hit me and Mendez up and let us know that it's happening, because we're not gonna tolerate it. We're not gonna tolerate it. You know what I'm saying? We won't, because that's not what we teach. And that first time that we had to do it, it was wild. It's been very few and far between since then. There are people that will try to use the ministry and say that they need to go out and about. There's actually somebody that does it. Like fairly regularly. They make rounds and they act like they're a part of the ministry. They're not. They're not. And if you see him, he'll send pictures of him and Mendez together. He'll send pictures of him and Brian together. He is not a part of the ministry. And he's always asking for money to go on missions trips and all this crazy stuff. And it's like exorbitant amounts. He'll say like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. He's not a part of the ministry. Y'all, the one thing about it with the access that started to be had, right? Like, ask, especially if you're people that follow us on our personal pages and stuff, and we actually have different relationships with people, like, you know what I mean? Stephanie has been talking to everybody for a minute, right? You guys that are on this feed, you kind of have a little bit of an access to me, where if it happens, don't hesitate to reach out and ask if somebody is who they say they are, because we can't fix it if we don't know about it. And there are a lot of people that'll go behind it and be like, oh, well, no, don't do that because they're a man of God. They're a part of the ministry. They're a part. What if they're not? What if they're not? Say something to one of us so that we know, because we will handle it right away. Screenshots are great too, right? Like, we need to know what's going on, because there's very little that we tolerate. We can look at something and know if it's just an honest mistake or somebody just got a little bit excited. We're able to tell that. But when it's malicious, when it's happening regularly, we ain't playing around with people with that. Okay? So take that from me. Anything with discipleship, if people are acting weird and saying they're a part of the discipleship, let me and Fred know. If people are saying that they're a part of the ministry and they're this, that, and the other, you can. There's plenty of it. You already know they put out the board, right? The leaders board. They already put it out. Any of those people, you could reach out and say, "Hey, there's this going on. We just wanted you to know about it," right? Like, we can't stop people if we don't know that it's happening, and sometimes it's needed for us to know, right? Easiest people to get in touch with, of course, with the discipleship is going to be me and Mendez, but the other stuff, it might be a little bit harder, but at least you're attempting, and one of us will get to it. Especially, like I said, if you're with me, we're on there. You know what I mean? Like, we're good. I'm gonna listen to what you got to say. You know that? So yeah, screenshots too, because it has to be shown, right? Like, we can't just go in there swinging and being blind. You know what I'm saying? Have the screenshot if somebody's being weird, because that helps a lot. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. A poor man's relatives all hate him. Even more, his friends stay away from him. He may pursue them with entreaties, but they aren't there to be found. And that's sad, y'all. That's sad. It's not how it's supposed to be. Babe, you're the best, babe. You the best. Hold on, y'all. Give me a quick second. My bad, y'all. My bad. Right? So this really sucks. We're still talking about the poor, right? Still talking about people that are less fortunate and how they could be begging for people to be there, how they could be in that. You know what I mean? No, man, I can't do the Big Mac. The Thousand Island gives me a stomachache. We shouldn't be pushing the poor away like that. Remember that God is their vindicator, and God knows when we are not taking care of those that are poor. Poor in spirit, right? Poor in faith, right? Poor financially, right? We need to be paying attention and doing what we're supposed to be doing the right way. Especially if they over here with entreaties, man. If they trying to help us out, or they trying to get us close, God knows. God knows when we lying, man. God knows when we're not taking care of him. God knows when we're being malicious. We are not supposed to be that. We are supposed to be a reflection of what God has instructed, what God has called us to do. Let's always remember that. To acquire good sense is to love oneself. To treasure discernment is to prosper. It is. Treasure discernment. To acquire good sense. To know what's going on. To not be on autopilot. To be intentional with everything you do. All those things are good things. All those things are good things. Be intentional. Understand and know that God is watching all the time. All the time. Whether you stand in the palm of his hand or not, he is still seeing what is going on. Just because we jump out of the palm of his hand doesn't mean that he's not watching. Again, King David said, even if I was to go into the depths of Sheol, you would be there. Right? Bruh. Now, see, Anthony, now you done messed it all up, man. Now I'm over here thinking, maybe it'll be worth the tummy ache right now. It's not worth the tummy ache, but man, now it got me low-key thinking right now. It isn't fitting. A false witness will not go unpunished. Whoever breathes out lies will perish. It's already there. Don't. If we could get rid of the lie, if we could get rid of falsehood from coming up out of our mouth, a lot of stuff would get better. The only way that you're going to get rid of falsehood and lies out of your mouth is by staying near the presence of God and coming to that realization that he knows. And we are not doing God a favor by boosting him either. We don't have to lie about the awesome stuff that he's doing, because he's going to do even more awesome things than what we lied about. You don't need to lie. See what I'm saying? Just do what you're supposed to. You have in your comments, What do you mean you have in your comments, Stephanie? What you mean? Oh, shoot. I didn't even see that. Stephanie got a screenshot of somebody being weird. Is that something that everybody already took care of, Stephanie, or is it something new? Because I seen that you said you sometimes reach out to Antoine. If it's something that Antoine knows about, it'd be all right. Yeah, we don't, Daniel. We don't have to lie to kick it. Like, come on, man. Let's just do this in spirit and truth, right? Because what does lies have to do with truth? We're supposed to worship in spirit and in truth. We got to check that, man. And what's wild is once you're able to check that, it's almost like everything else starts to kind of fall into place. You know what I mean? Oh, he left you alone already? Okay. Keep an eye on him. Keep record of it. I wonder if he was just asking. He might have just been trying to ask and have a new friend, but yeah, you know how that could be. You know how that could be, especially for the ladies. You know what I mean? Keep track, though. It isn't fitting for a fool to live in luxury, and even less for a slave to govern princes. Yeah, it's not. Again, this is what you have to realize. The person became a slave in Israel because they did something silly. They did something foolish. They incurred a debt that they couldn't pay, and somebody had to pay it for them. So it don't make no sense for a slave to govern the princes. It don't make no sense. It's not fitting for a fool to live in luxury. It doesn't make no sense. If you are unable to control or keep in excellence the things that God has brought to you, it makes no sense for you to be living in luxurious places or to govern over things that princes should be governing and taking care of. Right? Like, we should be working towards an excellence all around, not just in verbiage, not just in behavior that's seen outside, not just in how we eat, right? It should be an all around excellence. Oh, hold on. Can't pour syrup on Dookie. Call it flapjacks. Straight up, Daniel. Like, straight up. Come on, man. People with good sense are slow to anger, and it is their glory to overlook an offense. It is. It's to your glory to overlook an offense. It's to your glory to let it be water off your back and keep it pushing. It is. Overlook offenses. Don't allow surprise to get you and have you overreact over something that's small. Overlook some of those offenses, man. Be slow to anger. Really count the cost. Is it worth it or not? You know what I mean? Grace and favor, Bree. Straight up. Salute. Global Watchman Eaton. So you from Eaton, Colorado? Is that where you're at? Just want to know. Used to know a couple of people in Eaton. A king's wrath is like the roaring of a lion, but his favor is like dew on the grass. Yeah. Don't make the king angry for no reason. We serve the King of Kings. Don't make him. Houston, Texas. Oh, shoot. Okay. I just seen the Eaton. I thought maybe it was in Colorado, but you in Houston, Texas. That's what's up. Why make the king angry on purpose? There's a lot of us that do. There's a lot of us that look to make people in authority angry. But y'all, when we do that, do you think we're bringing God glory when we do that? Especially if we don't have any proof or any kind of anything showing that person is truly standing against God. Because if we don't, we ain't being respectable towards God. You know what I mean? Anthony, what you give me? I know I'm hungry too, bro. It's good. Y'all, don't be wild and don't do things to make the king angry. Don't be that person that tempts God. Don't be the person that goes, oh, I'm going to go ahead and do this, and God, you have to forgive me later. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Be in his favor, because it's like dew on the grass. It's that refreshing cool. It's that calm. I don't know about y'all. When I was little, man, I used to love early Saturday morning. You're going to get out in that lawn where there's still dew in the grass. Oh, that was like one of the most refreshing feelings ever. I don't know about y'all. I don't know if y'all ever tried it. You lay down on dew in the grass. Boy, it is refreshing as all get out. You should give it a shot. Be very careful because you're going to be itchy afterwards because that's how grass do you. But I promise you, it is one of the best feelings ever. It's something nice. Pono, get that pizza. A son who is a fool is a father's ruin, and a nagging wife is like a leak that keeps on dripping. A house and wealth are inherited from ancestors, but a sensible wife is from Adonai. I love my wife. Y'all saw my wife going to get me food. She ain't have to. I wasn't going to make her. I just asked her if she would. She said she made me peanut butter and jelly sandwiches if I wanted, but then she was like, you know what? I'll go get you some food. I was like, oh, baby. Oh, baby. That's my wife. My wife is from God. You know, I haven't ever told y'all the full story about me and her, but she's from God, like straight up. Laziness makes people fall asleep, and an idle person will go hungry. Don't be idle. You got to work. If you don't work, you don't eat. That's what the word says. We have things that we have to do. Be very leery of the person that says that they follow God and they talking about they waiting for God to do something and that's why they ain't doing nothing. They are lie from the pit of hell. The Bible says you work to eat. You have to work. You have to eat. Ladies, if you have a husband that says that they are doing the will of God and they are sitting at home while you work 2 jobs, you better tell that man to seek the Father because that man is lying to you. That man is lying to you. You hear what I'm saying? We work in order to eat. Idle hands will go hungry. He who keeps a mitzvah keeps himself safe, but he who doesn't care, He who doesn't care how he lives will die. Yeah, we supposed to do things in excellence, man. We supposed to do things to the instruction, to the way that God says. And we keep ourselves safe by doing that. When we walk in the excellence that God has instructed us to, we keep ourselves safe. But if we don't and don't care how we live, we will die. We will. Man, I can't tell y'all how often and how many bad situations I've been in when I just flat out didn't care, was out there being weird and wild, man. We supposed to do what God says. Just saying. Right, Sister Eminem? You know how I talk. Supposed to. Commandment. I can't remember if mitzvah is commandment or instruction. Either way, we supposed to do it. We supposed to do it. I always get mitzvah and there's mitzvah and one other one that I get confused, but it's command. It's command and instruction. And I get them confused. Not regularly, just every once in a while, especially when I'm as tired as I am right now. So give me a quick second. Yep, command. Mitzvah is command. Mitzvah is command. That's how we supposed to do it. Right? Poster. Uh-oh. That sucks, Joseph. Sucks. Keep the instruction, keep the commandment of God. Keep it. And you're going to be good, right? But you mess around and you don't, you're going to die. Don't care what you're doing, you're going to die. I had to have a real hard conversation with one of my youth. Like, dude has been doing a great job, man. And the entire time he's been doing good. And then he let the ball slip a little bit. And now he's in all kinds of trouble right before he's about to get transferred, right? I had to have a hard conversation with him. I was like, bro, you have to care. If you don't care, everything is going to go south. Like, you think it sucks now, start not caring. It gets a whole lot worse. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Come on, man. Come on. He took it well. He took it well. And hopefully it's excellence, man. And it sucks because I'm not going to see him no more. He's getting transferred to the new facility before I get back from training. And it sucks because I got a huge heart for this kid, man. And I wish I was going to see him again, but he took the talk well, and hopefully things continue down the right path. He who is kind to the poor is lending to Adonai, and he will repay him for his good deed. Let me help y'all with this one, okay? He who is kind to the poor is lending to Adonai. Stop right there. Stop right there. Because see, here's the problem. We go, oh, well, if I do this, God's going to pay me back. Think he's going to pay you back now? If you do, you're dead wrong. And if you think you're going to remind God about his word in it, you're dead wrong. See, you did it with the wrong heart posture right out the gate. So why in the world would God pay you back? Some of us need to learn how to stop before certain parts, right? And I'm talking more about the rewards that we seem to think that we're going to get. Every time we talk about a reward and we're talking about we're going to get this reward, this reward, this reward, this reward, do you really think you're going to get a reward when that's all you care about? Some of us need to learn how to be just kind to the poor. Some of us just need to learn to seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and its righteousness. Because in that one, right when you go, well, I want all these other things, so I'm going to seek first the kingdom of heaven. You're not seeking first the kingdom of heaven. You're seeking the reward. Just like here, if you're seeking the reward, you're not lending to Adonai. You're being selfish because you put in your brain that you're going to get more than what you gave out. I have heard people say that. I get more than what I give out. And then when it stops, they go, oh man, it was a lie. God don't even do nothing for me no more. I just keep giving it out. I'm not getting anything. It's because all you care about is the reward. If it's for a reward, then what was it all for? It wasn't for the soul. It wasn't for the person. It wasn't for the creation made in the likeness and image of God. It was for your selfish desire. Therefore, God's not going to pay it back. Trust me. I promise you. Man, I think I told you guys this story about the time when I was in Beeville and I only had $20. Like, that's all I had. $20 to my name until payday, right? Went out there, and there were some people, and God distinctly said, give them that $20. I justified myself out of it. Oh man, that's just me trying to be holy. Man, you know what I'm saying? That's just me thinking that I'm doing it extra because I'm out here ministering, man. I only got $20 and whatever. Woo-wee, did God show me how wrong I was. Went down the street, went to go get some food. Food covered by my brother. Went to a gas station. Oh, I recognize you from this flyer. Brother, get what you need, man. I want to give as much as I can to help out the cause. Whatever you need, just take it. Went to another place to eat. Oh, you them brothers that's gonna be doing the thing in the city. You guys been doing a prayer walk. I know it was hot outside. You know what? The food's on us. Went to another spot. Another brother covered the food. And then at the end of the night, the pastor handed me an envelope with money in it. And right when I touched that envelope, I didn't even know that there was money in the envelope, but right when I touched the envelope, God said, I told you to give that 20. Did I not have it all taken care of? Y'all, I have not missed a beat on that ever since. And then a couple of months after that, God was like, you realize you stopped the fullness of what I wanted to do. And you only got the bare minimum because you wouldn't be obedient to me. It's never stopped since then. All I care about is obedience, right? But it's not the focus of what could have been. It was literally the simple fact that God took care of everything. And he showed me. So when I got home, I still had that stupid $20 in my pocket. And more, right? So I've never went back on that. But see, on the flip side, when we're constantly thinking about the reward, God is not going to reward. Because it didn't come from generosity. It came from the guarantee of a payback. All other things aren't going to come because we're focused on all other things and not the kingdom and its righteousness. You see what I'm saying? Discipline your child while there is hope, but don't get so angry that you kill him. Don't get so angry that you kill that child. But discipline them while there's hope. Y'all got to understand, I have watched kids mollywop parents. And it's simply because the parents want to try to overpower a child that they've let do whatever they want to do from when they were young. And then they mad at me. How come they listen to you? Because I'm not talking down to them, because I'm talking to them like a human being. I'm not trying to control their life all of a sudden when they're out of hand like you are. This is your fault. You have to understand that. Discipline your child while there is still hope. Discipline them while they are still small, but don't be doing it so much that you kill them, that you take it out of context, that you do way too much. Y'all, anybody that is out there that loves spanking their kids, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. Like, to this day, when I think about when I used to whoop my kids way back when I was mean, it hurts my heart. It hurts my heart. But one thing my kids knew was that I loved them regardless. They knew I loved them. I spanked the pants off of one of my kids, but they knew afterwards that I would love them. My youngest actually got out of a whooping because he made me laugh right before I had to whoop him. And since I laughed, I couldn't whoop him. He's the only one of my kids that got out of a whooping. But I laughed. I couldn't do it. Right? So, Stephanie, you in a hard situation, sis. And I don't know enough about it to even give you good advice. It's one of those things that I would have to see it for myself and be around it and in the atmosphere. Then I could probably help you out there, but I need to see it for myself. I need to be around the child to be able to give you the right advice and kind of watch y'all for a minute. You know what I mean? If I ever come into your area and you're close and it's a good time, I'm more than willing to try to help you there. But like I said, it would have to be something that I would have to do in person to gauge and then give you the proper advice with that, because I've seen some of the stuff that you've posted and some of the stuff you said, and it's pretty rough. It's pretty wild. It's pretty rough. And I know that it is one of those unique situations too. You know what I mean? So we'll see. A violent tempered person will be punished. If you try to save him from it, you make things worse. Y'all, it's real. Generally, a violent tempered person is very unrepentant. You know what I mean? They're very unrepentant. And if you try to save it from the punishment that they're getting, you're just going to make it worse. Why? Because they're going to become entitled. They're going to feel like you're just going to always be there. They're going to feel like they're always going to be bailed out of the thing, and they're never going to learn. Even the proverb that talks about the person that has shed blood, and when they run to their own demise, and you're not supposed to help them, it's because they're unrepentant. Please realize and understand, when somebody is unrepentant, you are not supposed to take the flack for them. You're not supposed to enable them when they're unrepentant. How do you know they're repentant? Number one, they're going to turn themselves in. They're going to admit what they did. They're going to do the proper thing. They're going to do the right thing if they're repentant. If they're not, they're going to try to hide it. And that's not okay. Y'all, I have watched people justify trying to hide stuff all the time, and then they'll turn around and try to manipulate you. You would want me to go to jail over this? If the shoe fits, you should have kicked it off before you did it, but you didn't. You are not repentant if you're trying to tell somebody that they're not supposed to go to jail. Freddie Fred. Freddie Fred. I'm going to tell him. You guys have heard or seen Freddie Fred mention the night that he had to call me, right? Guess what your boy said? We have to call the police. Did Freddie Fred like it? At the moment, I know he didn't. But now that we are in this place where he's in a way better headspace. He knew literally when I picked him up from the police station, he knew that it's what had to happen. Right? Right there in the moment, he had no idea. We tried to do, there was nothing we could do. And he was like, what should we do? Call the police. I didn't want to do that. Doesn't matter. That's all you can do. That's all we got. Of course, there was a lot of other ideas thrown around, right? But the unfortunate part, there was nothing that could be done but call the police. He called the police himself. I didn't do it. He did it himself. And he talked to the police. Everything went the way that it did. And boom. Somebody that is unrepentant will try to convince you with everything they got that it is okay and that you don't have to call the police. That is not a repentant heart. When something like that has to happen, you should already know. If somebody broke somebody's head open and they laying down there, Oh yeah, the police got to be called. Somebody done robbed the dang store. Oh yeah, the police need to be called. But an unrepentant person will try to act like, no, they don't need to be called. I already repented right there, right to you. I repented to you. That's good enough. No, you didn't. There's consequences to be had. Bruh. See, Freddie Fred, I wasn't even going to tell him all that. You told him that. You told him that. Look, since Freddie Fred said it, right? My man jumped 2 pairs of railroad tracks, was on the third one, halfway on the third one. There was no way to get his truck off of the railroad tracks. Like there was no way. We had to get a tow truck and call the police to get the tow truck because we didn't have the money to get the tow truck there. So the police was the only route to get it. Otherwise, his truck would have been in the way, and it was still a running track. It was still a used track. That could have been disastrous, right? We had no choice but to call the police. Like, I know there would be people that would be like, no, you just bail and you leave the truck there. Okay. Good advice on a railroad track when a train is not expecting to have to stop short of where it has to stop and needs to because there's an unexpected piece of truck sitting on the track. How much carnage and damage could that have done? Again, an unrepentant heart won't think that far ahead. An unrepentant heart is still thinking selfishly. Freddie Fred had a repentant heart, and we called the police, and we got it taken care of. Could you imagine if that train came thinking that it still had the 80-foot of track to stop, and all of a sudden there's a truck there that they didn't know, and they got to slam on the brakes? And if y'all understand how inertia works, and all of a sudden Freddie Fred's truck gets lopped into the air and the cars start falling off of the tracks and all the stuff that could have happened if he had an unrepentant heart, and I didn't want to hold him accountable. Could you imagine? But I'm sure there's going to be people on the replay that hear this and they're going to be like, I would never, man, he wrong for that. I can't believe he did that, until that portion right there. See, an unrepentant heart doesn't see a big picture. The unrepentant heart is focused on self. The repentant heart sees a bigger picture. And there will come a time that as you repent and as you transform, God's going to show you a very big picture. And you're going to be like, yo, that's wild, right? Let me see. I have big moments when it comes to calling them folks. I know they're there sometimes, are only to help, but it just don't come naturally for me. I hear you, sis. I hear you. That was just one of those moments that, like, there was no ifs, ands, or buts. That, yeah, it had to be called. You know what I mean? Sad because one of my pastors said that about my ex when I asked him why it wouldn't work out. Ooh. Man, that's rough. Yeah, the unrepentant men are very, very selfish. They don't function in selflessness. You'll see, like, especially as you check yourself, and as you do become repentant, you'll start to see some stuff about you and how selfish you actually are. You got to understand, man, this is a walk that I've been on for a very long time. I've been on this walk going on 9 years now. 9 years on the selfless walk, and getting to that place of repentance and seeing how big things get and how selfish that we could be as people. You know what I mean? Listen to advice and accept discipline so that in the end you will be wise. Straight up. One can devise many plans in one's mind, but Adonai's plan will prevail all the time. Stay next to him. His plan will always win. A man's lust is his shame, and a poor man is better than a liar. Straight up, 100%. Y'all, there is people that I know that are homeless that I would trust with so many things over somebody that may be a little bit more well off because of their character. They have a character about them that is just awesome. You know what I mean? And I love it. The fear of Adonai leads to life. One who has it is satisfied and rests untouched by evil. Why not fear the absence of Adonai? Why not fear the absence of God? So much so that you don't look for justifications to do and still be in his presence, that you look for every reason to just remain in his presence, because you'll rest untouched by evil. You'll rest untouched by things that are not of God. And the Job stuff doesn't happen anymore. I'm going to keep saying this because people keep acting like they're a new modern day Job. No, the Job stuff doesn't happen anymore, y'all. The devil being up in heaven talking with God and God saying, all right, devil, you can touch Job all you want, but you just can't kill him. That stuff doesn't happen no more. The ultimate sacrifice is in place. The victory is won. The enemy is defeated. Those Job moments don't happen anymore. Stop calling yourself a modern day Job and start calling yourself a person that likes to flirt with the wrong things instead of God. God keeps us away from that stuff now. God said you resist it and it will flee. Don't be that person that lies to yourself and says, oh, the devil's touching me and it's attacking me and that's what's going to have to happen. No, you rest untouched by evil. When you follow God, nothing is going to touch you. Job moments don't happen anymore. Those are Old Testament things before the ultimate sacrifice was in place. Now that Jesus has died, that stuff don't happen no more. You know what Jesus said? Jesus said that it is bound. It is bound. So there's no to and from heaven. Oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, going to and fro here, in there. The whole, if you considered my servant Job, that don't happen no more. God don't send the devil to do some stuff no more. Stop lying to yourself and stop playing with it. Stop playing with wolves and acting like you're safe. You out there completely outside of the presence of God. Stop playing games. Start realizing and understanding how things work. The fight is over. The victory's already won. Stop being a bunch of drama kings and queens and start walking in the excellence of the Father. The lazy person buries his hand in the dish but doesn't even bother to bring it to his mouth. That sucks. And I know people like that. Right? Just can't even move forward, can't even enjoy something, can't even, because they would rather sleep. They'd rather just be super still, whatever, right? If you strike a scorner, the simple will learn to act wisely. If you reprove the intelligent, he will understand what you mean. Y'all, people with sense, when they get struck, they get it and they turn away from it. People that are foolish will do the same thing over and over and over again. Y'all, I can't tell you how many times I thought I had it figured out in order to do the dirt that I wanted to do. I can't tell you how many times I came back to it like a dumb dummy. Got caught every single time, thinking that I knew how not to get caught the next time. No, that's the verbiage of a fool. That's the verbiage of a fool. I know how not to get caught this time. That's the verbiage of a fool. That's way different than, okay, let me try it this time and maybe this time I'll be successful. It's two completely different things, right? Trial and error is one thing. Straight foolishness is another. Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting something different. It's foolishness. But an intelligent person, once they get hit, they learn, oh, shoot, I'm not supposed to do that. Reprove somebody. Tell them about themselves a little bit. Oh, shoot, yeah, I hear you. Dang, I shouldn't have done it that way. Right? One who mistreats his father and evicts his mother is a son who brings shame and disgrace. Don't be that. My son, if you stop heeding discipline, you will stray from the principles of knowledge. Always stay disciplined. What do you think being a disciple is? Being a disciple is all about discipline. A worthless witness mocks at justice, and the mouth of the wicked swallows wrongdoing. Don't do it. You don't mock at justice. Again, we don't understand what justice is. Y'all have been here long enough. I want to see somebody explain justice in the comments. You've been here long enough. You should have heard me say it. I want to see somebody explain justice in the comments. What is justice? Explain it, please. Please explain it. Judgments are in store for scorners and blows for the backs of fools. Straight up. Straight up. Straight up. Which one, Daniel? Which one you don't get? What verse number? 28? Is that the one? And I still haven't seen anybody explain justice to me. You should have been here long enough and heard my explanation of justice enough that you should be able to explain justice. Explain what justice is. 26, that's the one that you don't understand? Hold on. One who mistreats his father and evicts his mother is a son who brings him shame and disgrace. You don't mistreat your father. Me and my dad don't get along. But it doesn't mean I go around disrespecting him. Any of the people that go to my dad will always have a report that would bring him honor. But me and him don't get along. We don't talk. Right? And I would never, if my mom needed something and actually needed me there, I would be there, regardless of the fact that me and her don't get along. I'd never leave my mother out to dry. Doesn't matter how much I don't like it. Doesn't matter how much I disagree. Doesn't matter nothing. I will never leave my mother out to dry. Never, ever. You know what I mean? Uh-oh, you said the one before that. The one before that? Okay. Justice is getting what I deserve before those I accuse. Let's see. The one about not taking it to his mouth. Wait a minute. The one about not taking it to his mouth. Hold on. He said, "Don't send him to the old folks' home." Nah, that's not necessarily evicting. If the home is gonna be able to better take care of them, it is what it is. But you don't abandon them there. You know what I mean? You don't abandon them in there. Don't be that person that abandons them and never goes and sees them. 25. You strike a scorner, the simple will learn to act. If you strike a scorner, the simple will learn to act wisely. If you reprove the intelligent, he will understand what you mean. Yeah, like even simple people, man, whenever there's physical pain involved, simple people, they pay attention. That's why it says to not spare the rod. See, a lot of people have a hard time with that. A lot of people be like, well, I'm not going to beat my child. You don't have to beat your child to death. Like, what in the world do you think this is? When it's talking about the rod, there is two ends to the shepherd's rod. There is this rod, the part of it that guides them, and then there's a part of the rod that like actually kind of jabs them and forces them to go in a direction. Why? Because there's a little sensation of pain, because they're not paying attention. They want to be boneheads. They want to keep doing the thing. So if you strike a scorner, the simple will learn to act wisely. So if you strike somebody else, onlookers, so there's going to be some onlookers that'll be like, ooh, I don't want that. I don't want that to happen to me. I'm good. I'm not going to get hit like that. Nah, mark that off the box. Man, my oldest daughter and my youngest daughter, they learn by watching everybody else get in trouble. They watched somebody get in trouble. They was like, nope. I am not having that man put his hands on me. I'm not going to do that. I didn't ever have trouble with my oldest daughter or my youngest daughter. Matter of fact, my youngest daughter messed up in her junior year as she lost all of her classes, right? I got this weird feeling one day. And I was like, honey, I'm going to need to know how you doing in school. And she was like, oh, I'm doing good. I'm doing great. All right, cool. Go get your stuff. Let me see what you're doing. She disappeared. She didn't come out. She went in the room. She didn't come out of the room. Mom came home. Where she at? I was like, she in the room. Why is she in the room? I'm pretty sure there's some bad news about school, right? So my wife go in the room and my daughter crying. What's wrong? All my classes are gone. He just asked me about school. I was going to come and grab my stuff and bring it out to him to see. All my classes are gone. I've been trying to be in here. I've been trying to register for school and it won't let me. I don't know what in the world happened. And then I got an email back and it said that because I hadn't been to class or whatever, they dropped me. That was enough. I ain't need to do nothing then. She stressed herself out so bad in there, crying and trying to fix it. I ain't even need to say nothing. So the following year, my daughter did her junior year and senior year at once. She did it both, and she graduated from DATC. It's an applied technology college out here. So she did her junior year, her senior year, and her ATC stuff in the same year. So she literally did 3 years of school in 1 year. I never said anything to her. Didn't even say anything to her when she didn't come out of her room. That was enough, right? She was old enough. She understood. She knew. You know what I mean? But it's, like I said, people will learn by watching something else like that, right? When it comes to kids and everything. If you have multiple kids, your younger kids will learn from the older ones getting in trouble. There's stuff that you're not going to have to deal with your younger kids that you dealt with the older ones a lot of the time, because they're going to see, right? They're going to see, and they're going to be like, nope, I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? Let's see what else we got, because I'm hungry, y'all. Praise God, Stephanie. Straight up. You was a follower that had followers? Bruh, right? Pain causes a memory to wake up. It does, Sister Eminem, right? Let me see, 24. Verse 24. Let's see, what's verse 24? Lazy person buries his hand in the dish but doesn't even bother to bring it to his mouth. Yeah, the lazy person to do like that. That's laziness, man. Like a lazy person won't even like bring the food to their mouth because they're just lazy. They rather toss and turn in bed. They rather sleep all day. It's an inconvenience to get a lazy person to even get out of bed, right? Until they hit that certain point of hunger or whatever. And then even then, they ain't necessarily even going to finish the meal. They'll bury their hand in the dish and not even bring it up to their mouth to eat. Not even do what they are supposed to do. Not even be refreshed enough to be able to get up and move around and walk around because they're just lazy. Laziness is something wild, bro. Like, I will never understand people that will not face their problems. Because there's different forms of laziness, man. Like, there's some people that will not face their problems. There's a brother. I love this brother with everything I got. But my man will not face his problems. He will literally sleep and not face his problems as if his problems are going to go away. And he will tell you, I'm going to just sleep because then my problems aren't there. They're there when you wake up. You still got to go to work. You still got to pay bills. You still got to do all that with your problems sitting right there. What are you talking about? You're just going to sleep. And even with it, hey, this dude is sleeping when a solution comes. He's asleep. You can't even call him nothing because he's knocked out. Just like having a hand in a bowl. Got a solution right there. Ain't going to get up to do nothing with it. He's going to sleep right through it. Can't even get in contact with him when somebody wants to help him out, to help out with one of the issues he's got, because he's asleep. You just want to sleep through everything, never face him. And he's got the same. And the craziest part about it, I've known this brother for a long time. Again, I love him. But he's got the same issues that he did back when we used to kick it tough. The same issues. Because he's never faced them. Laziness comes in different forms. But we're not called to be lazy at all. I completely understand. You need to get refreshed. I get it. You want to get some things in place before you start. Okay, that's cool. But you start hitting 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years and you ain't taking care of something. That's all bad, right? We don't walk in laziness, man. We walk in excellence. And in excellence, there is stuff that we have to get taken care of. Stephanie, depression is very wild with that. And y'all, let me tell y'all, there's no issue if you got to take medication. If you're suffering from depression and you need to learn that, there's nothing wrong with taking medication. Don't let somebody tell you not to take medication if you need it. Y'all, you think that you think I don't sleep now. You should have seen me before when I flat out couldn't turn my brain off. I fought my ADHD for years. 40 years I fought my ADHD. When I turned 40, I couldn't do it no more. So I'm medicated for it now. And it makes my quality of life better. There's nothing wrong with taking medication. Now, if you're abusing the medication, that's a little bit different. If your boy was on here, I'm talking about, man, I'm taking like 17 Adderall a day. Yeah, I got a problem. I got an addiction problem, right? But if it helps you, y'all, don't hesitate to go to the doctor. If it helps you, don't hesitate to take medication. Don't be undiagnosed. Go find out. There's nothing wrong with going to the doctor. There's nothing wrong with being medicated at all. It only becomes a problem if you allow it to become a problem, or if you're lying to yourself and you don't really have something. There's nothing wrong with going to the doctor. It doesn't show lack of faith at all. I mean, Luke was a physician. Luke was a physician, right? There's nothing wrong with going to the doctor. There's nothing wrong with being medicated for the stuff that you need to be medicated for. Don't let people get on their high horse and start acting like, you know what I mean? Like it's wild to me. I've had people pray for my sleep. I've had people pray for my ADHD. Y'all, my ADHD is crazy. Like, I'm talking, when I'm not on my stuff, like, we'll be having a conversation, right? And then in my brain, all kinds of possibilities of conversations happen. And then it branches off into whole futures of what that conversation will look like in like a week, in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And there's all kinds of them. And there's times that I'll get lost in another conversation that ain't even happening. And then I got to come back and be like, oh, shoot, my bad. I missed everything that you said. I'm sorry. But it's low key kind of a superpower as well, because it lets me see, like, take a step out of the situation and see a bigger picture. Right. But when I don't take my medication, it is everything I have to focus on anything. And it makes me physically tired from focusing, right? One of my other friends, he said, it's like a whirlwind. It's like a tornado in his mind. And he refused to take medication forever. And then he finally did. And he said, bro, it has been years since my brain's been quiet. And I was like, oh. And he lives a better quality of life now. I live a better quality of life now. And please understand, y'all, I've had people pray everything. Oh, we're gonna pray this away. Good luck. Good luck. Go for it. But it doesn't happen, right? And it's not that God doesn't want to heal. It's obviously there for some kind of a reason, right? And I maneuver it well, but it gets tiring. It gets to be too much. So I have to be medicated for it. It's okay, right? They got people that be like, man, just smoke weed. It'll be all right. Get out of here, man. Whack. Well, Adderall just might as well knock it off. You know what I mean? When ministers shame people for taking meds by telling them that they have no faith, that is hurting them and causing them more distress. Like straight up. I've never understood that. I've never understood why people do that. Right? Like, doctors, all that, it's here for a reason. Now, I would much rather people lean on what's it called? Nutraceuticals. Natural, right? As natural as possible. But weed is not the cure-all. We got to stop it. Weed is not the cure-all, right? I'd rather people focus on nutraceutical, but there are some things with the pharmaceutical. And the unfortunate part for me is that my ADHD is so high that the natural doesn't help it. I have to have the pharma. Otherwise, I would do something natural, right? But I'm at the peak of the pharma. Like, I had to get a letter and everything after research to get the dose that I got, because it's way higher than what's normally okay. So don't feel bad. Don't feel like you're less of a believer just because you have to have a medication. I mean, what did Paul tell Titus? To go ahead and drink a little bit of alcohol to cure your stomach ache, right? He didn't say, let me lay hands on your stomach and you're going to be healed. He said, go ahead and drink a little bit of wine to cure your stomach stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, bro, Freddie Fred, like, everybody wants to be dealing with that stuff. I used to go to the gym too. I need to get back to the gym. I used to go to the gym heavily used to go to the gym, but that still doesn't cure my brain. My body could be super tired and my brain will still be gone. Like, half of the time my body's tired, I just lay there and look at my ceiling because my brain won't stop. The one thing about taking my meds is that my brain actually stops now. You know what I mean? But look, y'all, I love you guys. I'm hungry. I want to do what need to happen. Had that happen to me back in the day. And if I wasn't pressed in to the Lord, if I wasn't pressed into the Lord, it would have set me back for sure. Oh yeah, straight up. You know what I mean? I love y'all, but I'm gonna go eat this food. I'm gonna go do what it do. I love you guys to life, man. I hope that you guys heard something that was encouraging. I hope you guys heard something that you can apply in your life. I hope you heard something that as you walk in it, you watch the excellence of God continue to grow in your life. I don't know if I'm gonna bring my trusty microphone when I go out there into Provo this next week, or if I'm gonna just leave it here. We'll see what happens. But if I don't bring it, it's gonna be a little bit more of a loosey-goosey type audio. But maybe I'll just bring it. It's just heavy, man, and I don't know if I got enough. I don't know if I'm gonna have the patience to pack everything up and walk out and in and all that good stuff. So we'll see what happens. But we'll see y'all tomorrow. We'll see y'all on Monday. And just keep pressing in the excellence of God. We love you guys to life. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Woo! Yeah! Oh my goodness, I lost the what's it called. Means community, and they seem to think that it has to do with the building.
Remnant.